The ancient biological stamp. Every time someone writes your blood type on a medical card, it looks simple. A positive, O negative, a B positive, one letter, one sign. But that small label points to something physical, a mark sitting on the surface of your red blood cells. That mark was built from genetic instructions before the cell fully matured. It was inherited from your parents, recognized by your immune system, and carried through your bloodstream every second of your life. Your blood type is not just a name for your blood. It is an ancient biological stamp. That stamp does not tell your whole ancestry story, but it does show one precise place where DNA becomes visible on the surface of a cell. And to understand what your blood type can reveal, we first have to ask a more basic question. What kind of cell carries the stamp? The label is not the system. To understand the system, we have to move from the medical card into the cell that carries the mark. The cell that carries the stamp. The cell that carries your blood type is the red blood cell, also called an erythrocyte. Its main job is transport. It loads oxygen in the lungs, delivers it into tissues that need energy, and helps carry carbon dioxide back toward the lungs. But a mature red blood cell is unusual. It has no nucleus. During development, it pushes that nucleus out, which gives it more space and flexibility for its oxygen-carrying job. That creates the first important twist. The mature red blood cell no longer holds the full genetic instruction manual, but its surface still carries marks built from earlier genetic instructions. In other words, the stamp remains after the library is gone. The stamp is visible on the mature cell, but the instruction was written earlier. To understand blood type, we have to move backward from the surface into the genetic machinery that built it. How DNA builds the ABO stamp. DNA is not a mystical identity code. It is an instruction molecule. Certain stretches of DNA tell developing cells how to build proteins and enzymes. Those enzymes can then change what appears on the surface of a cell. In the ABO blood group system, the key difference is the structure of tiny sugar molecules attached to the cell surface. The red blood cell begins with a basic surface foundation. Then enzymes act like molecular stamp makers. If your ABO gene gives the A instruction, your cells can add the A finishing mark. If it gives the B instruction, they can add the B finishing mark. If both working instructions are present, both marks can appear. That is, blood type AB. But O is different. O is not a stronger stamp. It is closer to an instruction that does not complete the A or B finishing mark. The basic foundation is still there, but the finished A or B version is not placed on the ABO surface. So, type O does not mean the red blood cell surface is empty. It means that, in the ABO system, the cell does not carry the finished A or B stamp. That sounds like a tiny molecular detail, but the immune system treats tiny surface details as meaningful. The stamp is built by DNA, but it becomes important because another system reads it. This is where a chemical mark turns into an immune boundary. Why the immune system reads the stamp. Your immune system is constantly asking one practical question. Does this belong here? It cannot read your family history. It cannot open a genetic archive and see your ancestors, but it can read surfaces. Blood type matters because the immune system learns which surface stamps belong to the body and which ones do not. If your red blood cells carry A, your immune system usually treats A as self and may react against B. If your cells carry B, it may react against A. If your cells carry both, it usually accepts both. And if your cells carry neither finished A nor finished B, it may react against both. This is where type O becomes misunderstood. Type O red blood cells can often be given across the ABO system because they do not carry A or B stamps for the recipient's immune system to attack. But a person with type O is not a universal receiver. In their plasma, they usually carry antibodies against both A and B. Type AB shows the opposite pattern. AB red blood cells carry both stamps, so the immune system usually recognizes both A and B as self. Within the ABO system, this makes AB the broad receiver for red blood cells. This is the strange symmetry of ABO compatibility. Type O red cells can often travel outward, while type AB can often receive inward. The stamp you carry changes what your immune system accepts. The stamps you do not carry can become the ones your immune system attacks. That is why blood type is not only a label, it is a compatibility system. Once we understand the ABO stamp, the plus or minus sign becomes the next question. Because A positive and A negative are not simply two versions of the same marker. They combine two different blood group systems. The second marker, RHD. When people say A positive or O negative, the letter and the sign belong to different systems. The letter usually refers to ABO. The plus or minus sign usually refers to RHD. RHD stands for rhesus D antigen. An antigen is a surface marker that the immune system can recognize. In this case, RHD is a protein marker on the surface of red blood cells. If your red blood cells carry this RHD marker, your blood type is usually called Rh positive. If they do not carry it, your blood type is usually called Rh negative. This matters because the immune system does not only react to ABO stamps, it can also react to other surface markers on red blood cells. And RHD shows something important about the whole topic. A tiny marker can become important when two blood systems come close to each other. This is especially clear in pregnancy. If a mother is RHD negative and the fetus is RHD positive, small amounts of fetal blood can sometimes enter the mother's circulation. The mother's immune system may then learn to recognize RHD as foreign. A danger is usually not the first moment of contact itself. The danger is immune memory. Once the immune system has learned that RHD looks foreign, it can make antibodies. In a later pregnancy, those antibodies may cross the placenta and attack RHD positive fetal red blood cells. That is why Rh testing and preventive care are medically important. Blood type does not predict pregnancy. The point is that a tiny biological stamp can become serious when immune recognition, blood contact, and memory come together. The stamp can affect compatibility, but it also raises a more personal question. If this mark was built from DNA, how did you get yours? How parents pass the stamp forward. You did not inherit your blood type as one finished label. You inherited variants. For ABO, you receive one version from one parent and one version from the other parent. These versions combine to create the blood type that becomes visible on your red blood cells. If you inherit A with O, the A instruction can still create the A stamp. If you inherit B with O, the B instruction can still create the B stamp. If you inherit A and B, both instructions can show up. The result is AB. And if you inherit O from both sides, there is no finished A or B stamp on the ABO surface. The result is O. This is why a child does not simply copy the blood type of one parent. The child receives one ABO variant from each side, and the visible blood type comes from how those instructions combine. That makes your blood type a small piece of family biology. It does not tell the full story of your family line. It cannot carry the names, places, or memories that make ancestry personal. But it still carries something inherited. A tiny stamp on the surface of a cell can show that two biological lines met and passed forward a combination that became yours. Inside one family, the stamp shows inheritance. Across thousands of families, over many generations, the same stamp begins to show a larger pattern. From family inheritance to population patterns. This is where the ancestor question becomes more precise. Your blood type cannot tell you that you come from one specific country, continent, or family line. But blood types are not distributed evenly across the world. That difference happens because variants move through populations over time. Families move, groups mix, some communities remain isolated, and in small groups, one variant can become common by chance. In other settings, infection pressure and immune biology may help preserve several variants. This is not a personal ancestry map. It is population biology. Across many people, blood group frequencies can show broad historical patterns. In one person, blood type is only one inherited marker among thousands of genetic signals. In the United States, for example, type O and type A are the most common ABO groups. Type B is less common, and type AB is the smallest group. This simple US pattern helps show the difference between a medical label and a population signal. A high frequency of one type in one group does not turn that blood type into a geographic origin label. The pattern is real, but it is not personal enough to tell the full route your ancestors took. The stamp is older than your parents and older than recent family history. To understand how deep the pattern goes, we have to move from ancestry into evolution. The stamp is older than family history. The ABO system is much older than a few generations. ABO-like variation exists beyond humans in other primates. One major analysis argued that parts of this system are best explained as a trans-species polymorphism, meaning that related versions of the variation were maintained across different primate lineages through long evolutionary time. That does not mean your personal blood type tells you which ancient line you came from. It means the stamp belongs to a system shaped by inheritance, immune recognition, and evolutionary pressure for far longer than surnames or modern national borders. This is the deepest shift in the video. At first, blood type looks like a label. Then it becomes a surface stamp, an immune signal, an inherited combination, a population frequency, and finally, a trace of an old biological negotiation between cells, microbes, immunity, and survival. The more powerful this idea becomes, the more important the limit becomes. A stamp can reveal something real, but it cannot reveal the whole archive. What blood type reveals, and what it does not. So, what does your blood type reveal about your DNA and your ancestors? It reveals that DNA can shape a visible mark on a cell. It reveals that your immune system reads that mark as part of the boundary between self and not self. It reveals that your parents passed forward variants that combined inside you. And across many people, it reveals different frequencies of ancient stamps. But it does not reveal everything. Your blood type is not your personality. It is not a diet plan. It is not a private ancestry report hidden in one letter and one sign. It is one stamp inside a much larger biological archive. That is the real perspective shift. Ancestry is not only written in names, places, photographs, and documents. Some of it is written in inherited biological marks, small enough to sit on a red blood cell and old enough to connect your body to generations before you. But a stamp is still only a stamp. It can show an inherited pattern and point toward the deep history of human variation, but it cannot tell the whole journey. So the next time you see your blood type written as a letter and a sign, do not see only a medical label. See a biological stamp, a mark built from DNA, recognized by the immune system, passed through families, carried across populations, and shaped by a history much older than any family name. It does not tell the whole story of where you come from, but it shows that even ancestry can leave traces in places we almost never look. On the surface of a single red blood cell,